Heart soaring high, never see them dying. Braves been brave, out the park swinging. Touchdown glories, stadiums ringing. Peach State pride, gold medallion glowing. Frozen swish, ice tray showing. Ring within reach, brace for blast. Riding through the city, we built to last. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show, where the game runs deep, truths unfold. Grind on the field, hustle on court. Atlanta stands tall, that's real sport. Mercedes-Benz Dome, fans wild loud, ATL united. Soccer game proud through the blood, sweat, tears we roll. Every match, every game, players' heart, they soul. Georgia roots, deep as maple tree. Hoops to home runs, touchdown spree. Basket net sways, back cracks clear. Victory echoes, always here. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show, where the game runs.
All right, guys, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I am your host, the Minister, Jonathan Simmons. Thank God for those of you who have tuned in to join us here on a Saturday morning. If you are watching live from ATL, it's a little murky outside. The weather is still warm. And for those of you who are watching on the replay, thank you, and thank you again for tuning in to the show. Well, we got a lot going on here in the ATL. Big changes in the world of sports. And one of the biggest changes is that we got guys coming and going. For those of you who have been asleep, bottom line is Trae is gone, but Matt is back. That's right. Our two, I don't want to say most popular, but certainly the ones that get the most notoriety, our basketball team, our pro basketball team, the Hawks, and the Atlanta Falcons. Our football team making big news with big moves, making big news with big moves. Number one, Trae Young is gone. 7-year stint. Uh, to me, an electrifying player for the Hawks. Certainly a guy that has, it's kind of been a mixed bag. In one respect, like I say again, the guy has to go down as one of the great Hawk players of all time in 7-year tenure. You have some people trying to compare him to Dominique Wilkins. That's not really the case. But nevertheless, Trae was must-see TV for most of his years here in Atlanta, especially his first 4 years. I will say the last 3 years, maybe not so much. Things tapered off a bit, especially after the magnificent run that he led the Hawks to on the 21, I guess it was the 21-22 season, where the Hawks made it all the way to the Eastern Division Finals. And had it not been for some injuries, they might have got to the NBA Finals. Against a very, very tough Bucks team led by Giannis. So, Trae, you really nothing bad to say. The guy, like I said again, created some great moments here in Atlanta, hit some big, big shots. 3-pointers, game winner. Like I said again, spectacular performance. 2020, actually his bow garden. All of you remember the highlights. But Trae is on. Traded to the Washington Wizards for McCullough, and player from Washington. And so the Trae Young era now is officially over in Atlanta. Now, on the flip side, Matt Ryan is back. That's right, Matt Ryan, and also another Atlanta sports legend, a guy that played here for 13, 14 years, led the Falcons to 2 NFC championship games and to the Super Bowl, which is very hard to say that, about 10 years ago, where the Falcons became a whisper away from winning their first NFL or Super Bowl championship. Well, Matt Ryan is back. He now is officially been named just hours ago to be the new president of football operations for the Atlanta Falcons. So that means that Rich McKay now also is out, basically, and Matt Ryan is in. So at the end of the day, we got a situation where we got two new things going on here in Atlanta, and both of them revolving around, like I said, legendary athletes here for this city. In the case of Trae Young, he had some parting comments here. Let's take a look at these. We got them up on from Yahoo Sports, and he says this is what he said on the way out. It's time to see what's possible when the support is real, and certainly those remarks are not necessarily out of line. I think that at the end of the day, in those early years, especially after that 2021-22 season, the Hawks didn't do what they needed to do to um, set this team up to be a winning team, with Trae being one of the key factors on that team. They just didn't do it. They needed to go to a big man, a legitimate big man, where Trae could really work the pick and roll. They did not do that. And so consequently, they kept trying to build a team that really didn't fit with his skill sets at the end of the day. And probably the worst fiasco of all times when they brought in DeJounte Murray. And that just was just a bad move overall, because you got a guy that basically his type of play was similar, ball dominant guard, kind of taking control of the offense. And with two of them together, that really did not make sense. And then the other thing too is, let's face it, the Hawks ownership just don't want to spend any money. And when I said I don't want to spend any money, they don't want to spend the real money and set up a situation where they could really had a winning team with Trae Young. But at the end of the day, what can you do? Let's go to the remarks that he made on X, that used to be Twitter, and hopefully I'll be able to check in here shortly. We're having a little technical difficulties, which we have from time to time. So that's the way it is, guys. But anyway, let's take a look here and see what his remarks here on Twitter, aka X, where he makes his parting comments to Atlanta and to the city. And I think he had no problem with the fans. I mean, let's face it, with anytime you're a superstar, you're always going to have, to some degree, a love/hate relationship with fans, because fans want you to win championships. Fans want to have the excitement of big time playing all the time. Anyway, let's take a look. As we know, or maybe many of you don't know, Trae is a believer in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So he opens up his Twitter, his X tweet, with the scripture from Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." And that's the first part of it. And the second part is that plans are for, not for evil, but for the good and for an expected end. So Trae certainly relying on his faith now as he makes his transition. Let's go ahead and read the X post that Trae Young made. It said, "Never thought I'd be typing this. The last few years weren't how I wanted them to be. Expectations that we created for ourselves, reaching heights that Atlanta has never seen before, never reached before. Bringing a championship to Atlanta was always my goal. However, between the injuries, the setbacks, and situations that didn't make sense, we never truly got to see our full potential. The city that raised me and taught me much will always be a chapter in this story. However, the pain of staying the same eventually outweighed the uncertainty of change. Change is often met with fear, but I see it as an opportunity, another opportunity. I'm walking into this next chapter ecstatic, with my head high and my eyes forward. It's time to see what's possible when the support is real and the vision is clear. We move." Trae Young. Yeah. So at the end of the day, as we always do in media, and that's one of the things I really sometimes don't like about being in sports media, that we take these headlines. The headline in Yahoo Sports says this: Trae Young took a shot at the Hawks on his way out. Well, he really didn't. I mean, that's really not true. What he just made the statement of, when the support is real, and that's not a shot. It's just the realities that he pointed out. It was, unfortunately, the perfect storm in a negative way. The Hawks constantly had injuries, so we never had a full season, except that 2021-22 season, where the team really was together completely. Second of all, the Hawks, and they'll tell you, they were not willing to go into over the cap. And immediately after that team made that run, they basically traded off all the pieces. They got rid of everybody. And then the other thing is, they never really try to build a team to fit Trae Young's skill sets, which would have been a rim protecting big man with the ability to run the pick and roll, like we kind of thought we were going to get initially with John Collins. But unfortunately, Collins was not big enough and strong enough, because if you remember, guys, he ended up getting suspended for using performance enhancing drugs. So they never really got another guy to replace him. Now, Clint Capella certainly was very, very good, but you know, Clint wasn't that type of guy that could be a really legitimate number two scorer. Now, give you double doubles every night, but he never was the guy that consistently could give you, 17 to 21 points a game. That just wasn't happening. And like I said, I mean, the Hawks just never added the other pieces to fit his skill sets. So it kind of really after the 21-22 season really was never his team per se. So that's what all you're saying is like, hey man, I never really had that that was around my skill sets. And he's moving on. For Atlanta, it really was the team tempo branded game that moved the ball around the perimeter and a team that really is very much like the last Hawk team. I shouldn't say the last Hawk team, the previous Hawk team that went to the NBA East Finals. So it was kind of a misnomer, when Trae said farther than ever before, except for the fact that when they got to the finals, I'm talking about Trae's team, they in fact actually won 2 games. His incarnation got swept. So I guess you can say that's kind of true. Um, and I guess the other thing too is he forgot about the team that Dominique had that had a 3 games lead over the Boston Celtics in the Eastern. And in fact, they faded after that. But anyway, all that being said, it's either he or on, and he will be now applying his trade watch where the Wizards have a young man that they just drafted that is really more the type of player that I think that Trae can really, in fact, make better. Um, he is a young man that is big, and he's in a situation where I think that Trae could develop with Sar. That's the gentleman I'm thinking about for the Wizards. And excuse me if I'm a little, if my mind is somewhere else. But anyway, I just think that on the Washington team, the way they're constructed, they got a lot of cap room. He could be a leader on this team, and I think that he's going to do an outstanding job. And don't be surprised the Wizards do not become a regular playoff contender with Trae Young in the mix. So, what do you think about Trae Young? You think that he should have been traded, and do you think the Hawks got enough in the trade? Because that was some other complaints that we heard that maybe the Hawks didn't get enough. They only got 2 players back in the trade, and what 2 players were they? They were um, McCollum and a young player that basically was on the bench. So at the end of the day, only thing I can tell you is that they had to do this. I mean, there just was no choice because, in fact, Trae did not fit in with the team they had now. This team is really more like, say again, a sum of its parts. And so it's just a situation where, you know, he's going on. I think he's going to do very well with the Wizards, with the skill sets he has, and with the way that team is set up. So look for Trae we'll be hearing a lot from him in the future, I can assure you. But all that being said, what does that mean for Atlanta? So the Atlanta Hawks, this team has shown that they have played very well without him, and that's what really what led to this trade. They have now a young core. Watch me for a second. They have a young core of outstanding players and comma that are inexpensive right now in terms of what they cost the Hawks to put them on the court. Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, both of these guys are athletes, and they both have the ability to both handle the ball. They both have the ability to score and to rebound. And in the case of Dyson Daniels, this guy is an all-world defender. So the Hawks saw with this team, led by Daniels and Johnson, that they had a team that really gave them a team that's better suited to play in the current NBA construct, where you got to have some guys that have length. You got guys that can play over the rim, and you have to have guys that can shoot from the outside. And Jalen Johnson, to his credit, has developed his game. And that's the other thing too about Trae, that he really never kind of developed his game from where it was in 21-22, especially after the NBA kind of changed the rules where you couldn't kind of crash into a player and get a foul. That was one of Trae's big methods of getting points, because he's consistently an 85 to 90% free throw shooter. And so once the NBA took that away, it seemed like Trae really never made the adjustment, especially the kind of following in the footsteps of Steph Curry, moving without the ball. Trae just didn't do that. He never seemed to want to do that. And so, like I say again, great player, enjoyed him, had some electric moments here in Atlanta. but it was in fact time to go. Whether Atlanta got what they should have got for him is irrelevant. It really is. Because like I said, this team they have right now has the potential to be an outstanding NBA team. And especially defensively, because again, when you're 6'1", 175 pounds, it's really kind of hard for you to guard people in today's NBA. All right, guys, we're going to take a little quick break in the action, but we'll be back with more of the Saturday Sports Update. Big changes happening here in the ATL, and we'll talk about the other big change up in Flowery Branch with the Atlanta Falcons. We'll be back with more of the Saturday Sports Update in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
We're back here. You're watching the Saturday Sports Update from Real Talk Sports. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. And again, we thank God for those of you who have tuned in to join us here in the broadcast. Well, the other breaking news in Atlanta sports is the Falcons making the announcement. It is official. Falcon Ring of Honor member, a potential future NFL Hall of Famer, probably the best player in Atlanta Falcons football history. Matt Ryan is back. It was announced just a few hours ago that Matt Ryan has been appointed as the new president of football operation for the Atlanta Falcons. This coming after the Falcons having 8 straight years of missing the playoffs. Ironically, last time they were in the playoffs was when the quarterback was Matt Ryan. That's the last time that this team has been in postseason play. And this is the second worst streak in the NFL currently right now. And after much angst by Arthur Blank and much screaming and hollering and complaining by local sports talk and the fans around Atlanta, Mr. Blank made a change, and he's brought in Matt Ryan to run football operations. And what most of the headlines are saying is that Matt will basically be the final say in whatever goes on in the Atlanta football team operations. Now, a lot of people have been chirping about the idea of the Falcons' problem being basically around Rich McKay. Could be. For those of you who are thinking that Rich McKay might be gone, I think that you're wrong. He obviously is going to be with the Blank Foundation, and we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be back. Like I'm at the work spot, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hold on.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
All right, guys, like I said, again, we do our Saturday Sports Update from our work spot, and our work spot is our title sponsor for high school football, Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. So we're going to sign off now. Like I said, again, I think that the Matt Ryan hire is a good one, and I think that it's going to be very interesting to who our next head coach might be. Of course, I'm in the mindset it should be John Harbaugh, but could be Kevin Stefanski from the Cleveland Browns. You know, the guy that with Shedeur Sanders. All right, so keep it locked. More great stuff will be coming around here in Atlanta football, Atlanta basketball, and sports in general. And the Real Talk Sports Show will be bringing it to you. All right, guys, until the next time we get back together again, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long, and take care.